Good morning. These weeks before Christmas, this time of Advent, is really meant to help us to wake up, to pay attention, to see if we can identify the fingerprints and the loving work of the divine in our lives all year long. But we pay heightened attention during Advent, trying to recognize the presence of God. And I had a similar experience years ago when I was given a scholarship to study for my master's degree, and the scholarship was to Fordham University in New York. What an experience that was. My degree was in religious education, so every one of my classes was filled with people of like mind and like spirit. People who were studying what it meant to share about the love of God and to pay attention to the love of God in their own lives. And just being around those people, I was there for 3 summers and for 6 weeks at a time during those summers. And it was probably one of the biggest adventures of my life. I felt like my heart was alive in a way that it had not experienced for a long time before that. And I had a similar experience with my grandmother, with my father's mother. She immigrated from the Netherlands when she was 60 years old. She brought 9 of her children with her. She left her eldest daughter there, who was already married, seeking a better life and a better future than war-torn Europe could offer at that time. She was a woman of profound faith, but it wasn't fussy. There was nothing fancy about it. It was just, you dig in and you live it, and it's that tough, ordinary, everyday time faith that gets you through the times in your experiences where you really need that extra support and the extra conviction. I don't really know how our friendship took off, but we had a very strong connection. And for 8 of the years that I was in religious life, the first 8 years, we would write letters back and forth to one another. And I would share things that I was learning about myself. And then she would reflect back to me and talk about a little bit about her own life. And I still have all the letters. She died the day before my 26th birthday. And so I know my entire life she's been part of it. And she wrote to me one time in one of her letters to me, that she felt as though our relationship was like that between Elizabeth and Mary. That was so moving for me. So the story in Scripture goes like this, that Mary, who was pregnant with Jesus, goes to travel to visit Elizabeth because she has heard that Elizabeth, who is far beyond childbearing age, is pregnant as well. And so when they meet one another, when Mary comes upon Elizabeth and greets her, Scripture tells us that the child leapt in Elizabeth's womb, recognizing the presence of the divine in Mary. For me to have my grandmother connect our relationship to this exchange, where these 2 women, this powerful encounter with one another, they recognize the divine in one another. That is exactly the way I would describe my relationship with my grandmother. And even my experiences at Fordham, recognizing the divine in one another. You have people like this in your life too. It's just that times like Advent help us perk up our attention and really key in. Who is that presence of the divine in your life? Who do you recognize God in? Who does your heart quicken when you see them, and your whole being respond to what you experience in the company of this other person or these other people? Spend some time today in gratitude for this individual or individuals in your life. And like Mary said, my soul rejoices. Let's give thanks for the presence of the divine that we see in people around us, and our lives are so much richer because of it.